Carol.
Hello.
I said hello to everybody, but I was clearly muted. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Hi, Ron. I just.
Hi, Giselle. Hi, Ron.
We could read your lips though.
We're adapting here. Ay, ay, ay.
We almost had summer and then it went.
I know. It's not very pleasant standing outside. We had some sporting events in the rain here for my kids.
Hi, Elliot.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Elliot.
Hi, Elliot.
So we're down to 5, so our quorum is 3.
Yes.
Quorum is 3. And I think Shauna wasn't sure if she'd make it tonight. So did you hear anything else, Erin?
No, just that she may not make it. So we could, it is 7 o'clock, so you could get started if you'd like.
Yeah. I'd like to call the meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of June 2nd, 2022 to come to order. We have one public hearing scheduled for this evening, so I want to take a few minutes to review the process for the public hearing portion of our meeting. During the public hearing, the applicant will be invited to join as a panelist to present the application, explaining to the commission and others present what is being requested. The applicant or staff will share all application materials on the screen as needed. Comments of town agencies will be read for each application if there are any. There will be clarifying questions from the commissioners. Then there will be an opportunity for clarifying questions from attendees. Please raise your hand through the Zoom platform and wait to be called on and unmuted. Next, those who wish to support the application may come forward, and then those who oppose the application may come forward. As this public hearing must be recorded, it is necessary for speakers to identify themselves each time they speak by stating their name and addresses. The applicant will then have an opportunity to address any questions or concerns raised by the public or the commissioners. Once the public hearing is closed, the applicant is free to leave or remain for the balance of the regular meeting, during which the commission will try to reach a decision on each application. Each applicant will be notified in writing as to the decision of this commission and has a right to appeal to Superior Court if desired. Decisions of this meeting are available the day after the meeting by calling the Land Use Department at area code 203-245-5631 after 9 a.m. All actions taken tonight by the commission will be by roll call. All commissioners and staff will identify themselves for the record before speaking. Seated this evening are members Ron Bodenson, Elliot Hitchcock, Giselle McDowell, and myself, Carol Snow. Staff present this evening is Erin Mannix, our town planner. The meeting is live streamed on YouTube and will be made available on the town website for viewing. Additionally, I would like to ask that we not use other devices unless needed for the meeting and treat each other respectfully throughout the meeting. The town planner will now read the legal notice.
Since this public hearing is a continuation from an earlier day, there's no legal notice.
Okay, great. So could I have a motion to open the public hearing or continue the public hearing for 22-06, 45 Wall Street?
Motion,
Thank you, Giselle. Second? Is that Ron? Any discussion? A vote to open it? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we would like to invite any applicants present to join us.
Just one quick business. Matt Williams, I have another Matt W, so I didn't know if you were calling in. Do I need to promote that Matt also? or can we hear you from here, Matt?
I think he's muted.
I'm not sure if he, I'm gonna let him come over, assuming that Matt W is also Matt Williams. Okay,
Yeah, I see two Matts.
Yeah, hi, it's me. I'm
okay,
here.
good.
And I apologize. I log on with two computers because one has a big enough screen I can actually see, and the camera doesn't. So,
Okay, good. Gotcha.
I think I can begin. My name is Chris McKeon. My office address is 900 Chapel Street, New Haven, Connecticut. I also am a resident of the town. I live at 31 Hotchkiss Lane. I represent the applicant. Our team is representatives of the applicant, including Travis Gulick. His brother Jesse Gulick is also part of the applicant LLC. The project architect is Matt Williams, and the site engineer is Greg Fettis, who unfortunately is ill and has been for the last couple of days, so he will not be here to present. But Matt and Travis and I will do our best to walk through the plans that we have. The application is in fact a modification of a set of special exceptions that were granted by the commission back in 2018. And specifically, this application seeks a modification of those prior approvals that were issued in application 18-17. That application, when approved by the commission, had allowed for the construction of a 9-unit residential building. It had permitted an increase in the building height to 36 feet, and it allowed for a building coverage of 29.4%. The modification for this project is for a less dense, fewer units, and more feasible financially project that will hopefully come to fruition. And specifically, what we are seeking is approval to build a 5 residential unit building. It, as compared to the 9 that were previously approved, we're seeking the ability to increase the height of the building to only 31 feet, where the prior project had been approved to a height of 36 feet. And finally, an approval of a building coverage of 28.4%, where the prior project was approved at 29.4%. So in all respects, this project is a less dense, less intensive use than what has already been approved by the commission. There have been a number of moving parts to this application, including the situation with Brookside Road, which many of you may know has been in various states of gravel, disrepair, et cetera. And we have worked at length with the neighbors on Brookside Road, being represented by attorney Bill Bilczek. We had an agreement with them in place for the prior development, and we are well on our way to finalizing an agreement with them on this development, which largely entails the common interest of everybody on that road to have it paved and properly drained, so that everybody on that road can benefit from the improvements that this project will bring about. We also have plans, assuming the commission eventually approves this application, to continue paving into the regulated area of the wetlands. It's a small area. I'm guessing it's somewhere like 25 or 30 feet into the regulated area, only so that the the two owners whose homes are actually located in the regulated area on Brookside, that they can have a paved access to their driveways. That will be down the road, but we met with those neighbors recently and we committed to working with them to seek the further modification of this hopeful approval down the road to extend paving just a little bit more, but that would have to be done obviously through the appropriate approvals of wetlands and a modification of any approval we obtained here. One other complication and something I've spoken to the town planner about, and I believe it would have to be a condition of approval, is the fact that Brookside Road is owned by NHP Madison LLC. That is the real estate entity that owns the Hearth. Several years ago, the Gulicks and I negotiated an easement whereby the owner of the Gulick property essentially maintains that road. And with the participation of some of the other neighbors, that will be the case going forward. The reason I bring it up is because whatever we approve, hopefully get approved in terms of work in the right of way, which is ostensibly paving, some curbing, has to be consented to by the owner of NHP Madison LLC. We didn't want to put those wheels in motion until we actually had an approval and can say to them that our town Planning and Zoning Commission has approved this project and we'd like you to consent to it. I've done this before with respect to a water easement, which has already been put in. A new water line has been put down Brookside Road. Eventually a gas line will go down Brookside Road, all benefiting everybody who lives on that road. So we're hopefully nearing the end of what's been a long road and a lot of moving parts, but I do think that not only the project, which Matt Williams is going to explain in a second, because I'm sure you're more interested in hearing from him and seeing what it's going to look like, but it will bring about a lot of infrastructure changes and benefits to everybody on that street. And I did want to specifically note for the record that I appreciate the effort of Attorney Bilchek and the people on Brookside Road for working with us and recognizing that what we hope to bring about is beneficial to everybody. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Matt to explain the building and the architectural aspects of what
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to share my screen here. I've just got a little PowerPoint that has most of the drawings within it. So give me 1 second.
Matt, could you please identify yourself and?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My name is Matthew Williams. I'm an architect licensed in the state of Connecticut. My office is Williams Architects, Inc. at 897 Boston Post Road in Madison.
Thanks.
No problem. Okay. Oops. Okay, so this is a site plan, and I'll just give you quickly. This is the Bishop Meg's house, formerly the British shop, the deep red colonial here, salt box. That's a kind of an iconic piece right here. The back part of this property is basically undeveloped. It's being used a little bit by the Gulicks construction company here and there, but what we've done is we've developed a 5 townhouse building that with driveways that are cut in right off of Brookside Road. And we've also added some parking along Brookside Road here. Currently, the Gulicks had their own driveway right next to Brookside Road. So this doesn't end up really being any extra paving. In fact, it might even be less by the time we're done. So what we tried to do was develop a building back here that would fit in, even though it's a larger footprint than most. However, it's really not any bigger than the Oasis building next door, which is down here. It would fit in, we thought, with the historical aspects of the Bishop Meggs house. So we developed a building that's of a sort of barn style of mixed eras, and I'll show it to you in a moment. But essentially what you have is a curb cut here with ground level garages and the first floor living of these townhouses. The first 3 units are that way. The other 2, because the road slopes down here, the other end units have a garage which really on a lower level where there really isn't any finished space, and then the living is above. I can go over the landscaping later if you want to see that, but we'll just move ahead. Just for quick reference, this was the previously approved project, which architecturally was a similar visual concept, but a very different configuration and a much larger building. So you can see from the previous slide that we're simpler, and I think that's going to make for a really nice addition to the neighborhood, quite honestly. We don't have really a parking area per se like this older plan had. Floor plans, which I'm not going to dig into too deeply because I don't think it's anything that people really want to know about, but this is simple living, 2-bedroom units. Bedrooms are on the 2nd level above the main living level with all that sort of typical comforts that the market demands. The units are around 2,200 square feet apiece. On the upper level of these units, there are loft spaces, which are part of that square footage I just told you about, which we think would be a nice spot for good views to the south and sun, etc. So this is a street elevation looking from Brookside, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right to the rendering, which is this. So we've broken the building into 2 masses, one of a more traditional barn character, one of something that's a little bit more contemporary. And again, the originally approved design was like this before, but just in a very different configuration. But visually, it was the same basic concepts. And you can see that, this is Brookside Lane once it's paved. The rendering always is a way of making this look a little bigger than it is, but this is the parking that we're adding. This is the end of the Bishop Meggs house. And we want to keep this sort of an agrarian sort of style, which I think is appropriate to other larger buildings in this area. I know there are a couple of large old buildings across the street. I can show you an aerial of that if you want, but we think this will fit nicely here. This is one end of the Oasis down here building, which is very close next door. Building materials are, cedar and a boral tongue and groove product on this. We thought that this white contemporary sort of feeling would really give a nice contrast and affect the entire concept. There's a little bit of stone on the building down on the one portion, but again, I think the rendering sort of tells a story. These are the 2-dimensional building elevations, which don't really show very well as a JPEG right here. But again, I can dig deeper into that if you'd like. But I think the rendering is the most effective thing. So this is the Bishop Meggs house. So our proposed structure is here. And you can see that this is the driveway that the Buicks have, and then Brookside Road. So essentially we're going to be converting that into just parking spaces. And this parking lot here will go away, and the building sits approximately right in here. That's just a photograph of the existing site, which I'm not sure we really need to dig into unless folks are interested in seeing the context. We had, I think, a very positive review from ACCA on the building design and the landscaping. And I am going to just quickly switch back to that landscape plan because there's some nice aspects to this. Each unit has a little outdoor area that's private. There's a retaining wall along this property line where the 45 Wall Street property sits a few feet below an elevation from the elevated. This is the edge of the Oasis parking lot right here. So that they really have a nice little, I think, cloistered area. So these units have patios and these two units have elevated decks, again, because the grade continues to drop off. And we've done a fairly, straightforward landscape plan that isn't overdone. I think John Cunningham liked it. I know he did, in fact. So probably the only thing I ever put in front of him landscape wise where he didn't have any comment. So I think that's essentially where I am. That explains the building hopefully well enough. I don't know if you had any questions about that. If not, I'll go to the engineered site plans, and I think Travis is going to talk about that. Or we can sort of tag team it.
I do have one quick question.
Sure.
It's Elliot. This is 2,200 square feet for 5 units. What was the square footage of the 9 units that was approved? I don't have that in front of me.
I don't have that either at my fingertips. I know it was a much larger building and it had parking under the building. Those units ran from about 800 square feet a piece up to, I want to say there was one that was 12 or 1,400 square feet. So there were more of them. I don't think that, I actually haven't compared the volumes of these two buildings. I know the footprint is smaller because the coverage is reduced from their previous design. But I don't think in square footage, this building is really any larger. I could dig that up for you if you'd like.
No, I think that's good enough. Thank you.
No problem. Welcome. Travis, do you want to dive in here, or you want me to just sort of talk about?
I could, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to just kind of, leave
Yeah,
with the elevations of the grades and how
Yeah.
that sinks down a little bit, and then we can get into the septic aspect.
Sure. So as I explained conceptually before, this is the site plan itself, not with the proposed grading. That's on the next sheet, but here's the paved portion of Brookside Road. I'm not even going to talk about any of this because that's for Chris's description, and I'm out of the loop on how all that is going to be finalized. But so there's an open yard space between the barn and the back of the Meg's building. There's a little dumpster enclosure back in here that's going to be added where, off of where the parking lot was, but where the parking is now will becomes the pathway into the back of this building. This building does have one rented apartment on the second floor, and the first floor is commercial.
It's both commercial currently.
Oh, really? Upstairs as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have both units for our construction company right now.
You ran out of space.
I ran out of space.
Okay. So this is the grading plan. And these garage door elevations, the low point of the garage door, is 22.5 and it goes down. The building really is designed very intentionally to sort of step down with the slope of the existing road so that there really isn't a lot of grading at all out here. And it's fairly flat too. I think it goes from about 21, down to 19, or this is 22 here and down to about 19, 18 in the very corner of the property as existing grades. It's a little steeper in the back, but it's it's pretty benign as it is toward the street. The septic system is between the building and the road. There is some stormwater detention below grade over here, along with a level spreader, or if that whenever there's something that exceeds what that can handle in a period of time, it'll get filtered. And there's also a rain garden, I think, where those two elements I think work together in those very extreme events that we all know will happen at some point. There's also an underground storm detention that's going to be installed up in here. I know that there's an existing issue with a large puddle here having to do with the catch basin that was put in during the town's redevelopment of Wall Street. And Greg Fettis has told me that, he thinks it's something that just got overlooked when that was done. But from what I recall him saying, what our proposal is here is we're going to try to mitigate as much of that as we can for the town, and if not all of it. So I think he thinks that what he's done over here will handle this puddling issue at the top. And Chris, jump in here if you know that.
Yeah.
Travis,
On that particular issue, this plan that you're looking at right now, that the manhole that is the proposed storm manhole, correct, right there, was added together with the drainage to the existing catch basin that, excuse me, there's also a new proposed type CL catch basin that is shown right at the opening of Brookside Road. And that change right there of drainage was done in consultation with the town engineer and town planner to mitigate this issue of puddling at the entrance to Brookside Road. Additionally, the only other point I would make is down at the other end of the property, since it is down grade, I guess it would be the northeast corner of the property there. There is in addition to the level spreader and infiltration system, there is a proposed hydrodynamic separator to catch the water that comes off of what is now going to be a paved road and separates the solids before it is released into the ground where it has been draining all along. So those are some of the things that have evolved on this plan over the last several months in connection with dealing with town staff, as well as the neighbors and the effort to pave Brookside Road.
I think that's actually the northwest corner.
Yeah.
It is. Apologize for that.
Is this that separator right here, Chris? This
It is.
structure?
No, it's
Yeah, I think if you go up, it'll say exactly what it is.
Yeah, it didn't. I just didn't see that terminology. But here it is. I'm sorry. Yes. No, you're right. Yeah. So it's actually the separator is actually this
That
box right here.
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Got it. Well, I think what you just, summarized is the drainage scheme. On the back, this is going to be landscaped. It'll be mostly lawn. Water will just run down and come over here. There is a new septic system being put in for the existing building, which is a positive. I think in general to have that modernized, and that's what goes in right in here. But it all fits neatly underneath this very calm grade that exists. And as you saw with the rendering, I think we tried to make this just look like it was perhaps something that could have been utilized, years and years ago. I'll take my architect's hat off and think like an engineer here for a minute. So this is the septic plan, which gives the details of the system. I believe they are, well, I'm not even going to try to describe it because I'm not sure exactly which one he specified in here, but or if he has, Travis, do you know, does he have air introduced into any of these? I'm not even sure that it has that.
I don't know. It's just the GST system. I feel like you have to put some air into that.
The soils, the soils are very, very good. In fact, with an abundance of caution, we went out and dug some additional test holes in recent weeks, months, just to really reconfirm how deep the groundwater is, et cetera. So these systems, I think are going to be very, very, very.
It's pure sand. We originally went down 8 feet. Then we needed to put the system down just a little lower. We went back and it was about 10.5 feet, I believe, is where we finally hit water. And it's all really good sand.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the drainage in the road is the biggest thing, and that's what Chris
Yeah.
and our team has been working on with the town, really trying to mitigate that with the paving, and where the pitch of that all. That's one of the aspect with that, the Wall Street's really flat. That's the issue. There's a lot of puddling right in front of my driveway, in front of Brookside. And then adding this catch basin, working with the town, we'll be able to pop a drain in there. That way, that will take a lot of that water, because it's really coming down from, let's say, Bradley Road side. It's coming down that way, and it's just it's not continuing down the road pitch wise. So we really need to take care of that water for during the winter. It's pretty bad. Sometimes when I'm coming out of my driveway, I turn left and my back end of my truck spins out. So that's what we really got to take care of that.
So I guess this is a good time to bring up where we are with both the road drainage and this final drainage septic plan that you're seeing. Because this has been a dynamic situation in trying to address site needs and requests of everybody on Brookside Road, and trying to get the engineering done. This plan that you're looking at, I think literally was done Friday late before the holiday weekend. And on top of that, since that time, Mr. Fettis has been ill and really has not been working. And so the town engineer and perhaps the town health official, although I believe we're okay with that, with the septic and the health, although they haven't seen this with changes of grade and things like that. But frankly, the town staff has not had the opportunity to review, nor has Mr. Fettis had the opportunity to provide some data that has been requested. So our hope here tonight was to present to you the project, to hear your questions and any other items we need to pay attention to, as well as that of anybody from the public in terms of questions or issues, and continue the matter with the to the June 16th meeting, with the hope that at that meeting it will simply be the town engineers and town planners being satisfied with the data relative to this most recent plan, or some changes to it if they be necessary. So that was the request I was going to make of the commission tonight, if you would indulge us with that.
Okay, thank you. Erin, did you have any comments you wanted to make based on what you've seen so far?
I think that was a pretty good recap of how we've gotten to where we are, and the modifications that have come along the way. I did provide the commission with and the applicant with a staff review back in March, I believe. That is part of the record. And we have had subsequent meetings to try to address some of our questions. Water quality treatment was one, as Chris and Travis and Matt indicated. For most of this is with respect to the paving of Brookside Road. There were some minor grading issues in front of some of the units, mostly unit 3. A lot of these have been addressed. The only other item I think that was in my memo that we haven't quite worked out, but I believe the applicant did mention, so all of the curbing along Wall Street is granite curbing. And so the details, that would be a recommendation from staff that when paving the Brookside Road, the curbing that connects to Wall Street should be of the same material, at least, through that right-of-way area. not necessarily through the entire site, but at least on the right-of-way portion. That
I
should-
believe, did we not, I think that was on one of these. sites.
Yeah, I think it's
thought
on the
it was,
prior.
And then I saw bituminous detail on this plan here in this revision. So I just wanted to,
Existing curb. So which I agree with you, Aaron, is that I remember there was on one plan, it might have got switched when we're putting in curbing into Brookside, but in that right of way, that curve coming in on both sides, I'm pointing to the screen like you can see me pointing. That will be granite coming into Brookside right into the property.
yeah, that I thought we talked about it. I just wanted to reiterate that. And then I think Chris
proposed
did-
granite curbing right there.
Okay. Yes. So we had, it's just a matter of details not matching, I guess, with the notes.
Sure. Yep.
But and as Chris had indicated, I mentioned in my staff report that the agreement with the hearth was structures would need additional approval. So that would be something that I would recommend drafting into as a condition of approval. But ultimately, yes, this is a reduction in the degree of special exceptions that were requested the first time around and approved by the commission. As Chris indicated, it's just some drainage questions to iron out, which we hope to have ready for the next meeting. So it would be my recommendation also to just continue the hearing. But also allow if there's an opportunity for anybody from the public who may have a question or comment today.
Okay, also, are there any
sorry.
commissioners who have any other questions?
I had one last one.
Oh, sorry, Erin, go ahead.
One question that had come up along the way of showing the paving, and Chris, I apologize if you mentioned this. Some of that was shown in the 100-foot upland review area. So that 100-foot upland review for inland wetlands has been indicated on the map now. So you can see it's just right above, right to the west of the edge of the road. So this portion does not require a regulated activity permit through the Inland Wetlands Commission, but future paving of that area within may require a modification of the site plan and approval of wetlands. Now I'm done.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any other questions?
Earl, I do. You can't see us because he has the screen up, so that's will yell at you. I have a quick question for Aaron. Is the 31 feet, is that an exception or is that in the height permitted for that area?
That is a special exception. There's two special exceptions. Well, yes, there's a special exception for building coverage and one for increased maximum building height as well.
Well, could you tell us what are we moving it from 4 feet to 31 or 20 feet to 31? What percentage?
What's allowed? Yes, let me pull up my regulations. Hold on.
And what's the percentage if they're 28.4 exceeds, what's allowed?
Sure, hold on 1 second.
I think I can answer that question, but
Okay.
Oh, perfect. That's easier. Great. I was going
because I
to.
was reviewing this zoning.
I'm not in the office, so I don't have
Yeah,
my book right in
I
front
pulled
of me.
up the
apologize.
regulations. I pulled up the regulations before the meeting. I'm noting here that the two on this zoning, the maximum building coverage is saying, you can go, this table is wrong in the requirements. See, for maximum building coverage, it says 30%, 35 by special exception is actually not the requirement. I think it's just, that's a requirement for other areas. It should say 25% is the coverage, and you can get up to 30, assuming you have a special exception. So we're seeking 28.4. So that would require a special exception, albeit a less intensive special exception request than what was previously granted. With respect to the height, the you can go up to 40 feet by special exception. And I believe need to look at my own screen.
I think the
Yeah.
base height limit is 30, I think.
Yes, that's correct.
So we're asking for 1 foot of little additional height there.
Okay, that's helpful. Then a couple more questions. Do you all own the residence that faces Wall Street?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you own both tracks then. Am I right that I don't see where
It's one piece of land.
one piece of land?
Correct.
And I don't see where the residence has access to Brookside. It looks like it's all
All the parking off of Brookside.
Well, that's not quite my question. Could the resident of that building get access to that house by driving on Brookside and entering their land?
Yes.
It says it's a private road. So my question is, do they have access to that private road?
This
Yeah.
property does have access.
Yes, we have an easement on that road to access our property from that road.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I thought your other property might be landlocked, but you own the front. So Aaron, is there any issue? I mean, doesn't every development have to have access to a public road or at least a driveway that gives them, they've complied here because they have an easement. Now they're just dealing with paving.
This is one property and they have access through Brookside Lane, which is a private road, but it is a right of way that they have. But yes.
There's a recorded easement of record.
Yes, I referenced that in my, Matt, I can.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
I can't get anything off of my screen because Matt's screen.
I know.
I'm a little
what you sent us was 3 months ago. So I don't.
Right. It does reference a volume and page. Of
good. Okay.
Yes.
That was my question. Thank you.
That easement also represents months and months of negotiations with the people at the hearth too, so I know it's in place.
I bet it does.
Yes, it's volume 2070, page 114.
Okay, do we have any attendees who have any questions about what's been presented so far?
I have no one with their hands raised.
Okay, great. And so you all have requested that we continue the hearing to the June 16th meeting. Do I make a motion for that?
Or you could entertain one.
Or entertaining?
Another commissioner.
Yes, thank you. Someone like to make a motion that we continue the hearing at our next meeting on June 16th?
I so move.
Thank you, Ron. Second? Elliot, thank you. All in favor, for any further discussion about that? All in favor? So unanimously approved to continue the public hearing to June 16th. And thank you all for your presentation tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll continue then to our regular meeting. We have 3 pending applications. And do we have presenters, Aaron, for the East River Farms application at 14-08, 67 Boston Post Road?
Yes, just one moment. I'm going to transfer our attendees. Chuck, are you planning to have Bob or Phil here?
Yeah, I believe Bob is at the town hall.
Oh,
Are you do hybrid?
no,
No,
it's just Zoom.
Well, because
We could start.
You wouldn't happen to be under
Zoom.
Diane Murphy, right? No.
It could be. He didn't know how to do Zoom, and he said he was just going to go to the town hall.
Oh, he didn't contact me for that. Okay.
I thought that it was you were hybrid.
No. Okay. So if there's anybody who is an attendee, that is either Bob or Phil Altieri, that would be, if you could raise your hand, I can transfer you over. Okay.
He was planning on attending.
I met with them both.
Yeah, I know. He was ready to go. He's sitting at the town hall. I don't know what he's doing there.
Discuss our progress here.
I can go over what happened over the week. I mean,
Let's get started on that.
okay. So Chuck Mandel, agent for Bob Murphy. So over the past week, we went and staked out the property lines on the eastern side, which was one of the requests. We also had laid out the detention basin to the north, and subsequently LaFotta and Son went and graded that. So that basin is in and graded. It still needs some plantings, some seed, but the entire drainage system for the roadway is in place and functioning right now. We also went ahead and as-built did the drainage over the weekend. It's still in raw data form, but we do have all the inverts and locations of catch basins, electrical utilities, that sort of thing. Let me think, what else?
Chuck, can you
yeah.
speak to the infiltrators? Have any of those been installed?
Yeah, so a couple of things, Aaron. Some of the infiltrators have been installed. I have to still get the as-built from Anthony LaFotta and go over them so I can get those on the plan. Some of the stormwater systems, he actually put them in differently than the proposed plan. Some of the storm leaders actually go into smaller subsurface units that are not on the plan. And on the western side of the property, where the original plan, I think we had 4, maybe 6 garages. Those structures are not to be built right now. So subsequently, those are now lawn, and that entire western side north of the first unit has been planted with arborvitae, and the rest is mostly lawn. So we were going to look at the drainage calculations and see if we were going to do sheet flow and see if that would mitigate some of the stormwater, and also based on the reduced impervious surfaces with the fewer garages, we're seeing what the balance would be if it equals the zero runoff is what we were looking for. And we will be looking at some of the other roof layers that are not connected that do run right onto the lawn. And we were going to talk with the town and see if we can get connect those to the existing storm drainage. So that's pretty much where we are infrastructure wise.
Chuck or Aaron, do you have any plans that could be shared?
The original, I don't.
I think in some of the documentation, Aaron, and some of the application materials, I think I saw one plan that may give the commission a sense of what's out there.
I think there's a Mylar here.
Yeah, there might be. It may not show all unit 6.
I can show you this.
Yeah.
So there's an as-built for the condo declaration.
Right, that's the one I was talking about. That's just the location of the buildings.
Actually, let me scroll out so you can see. So this is the Boston Post Road here, the entrance. So these units are completed in the front, and as you come back in the site, these units are all completed. If you continued, there are 2 other units here under construction currently, as well as and there's parking area and drive in here. This
Cool.
portion was the area that Chuck was referring to that originally was approved with garages, and those have not been built. There is some pavement parking areas in there. So I do believe that the number of parking spaces is compliant, but the as-built will confirm that. So it's not necessary per se to have the garages included. The detention basin that Chuck was referring to that needed to be installed was back in this area where all the stormwater base from the driveway basically connected in along this western portion of the driveway, tied into a catch basin and discharged into a detention, the basin here with a level spreader towards the wetlands. So that was one of staff's concerns, that all of this impervious surface has been constructed and none of the stormwater was installed to treat any of that increased runoff. So that I do agree that that's progress. I can, if this is, so just to reiterate, this is phase 2 of the project, which is on Wildwood Avenue here. And this part has not yet been started. So there's no clearing or no development yet in that phase of the project. At this point, we were focusing on this phase 1 portion. Okay, so I did have my staff comments here. So stormwater was one, and we did kind of touch upon this at our last meeting, and it's unfortunate that the developer is not here to go over this today. And I would still encourage them to come to the next meeting to actually have a conversation with the commission. And I know that was their intention, because this is, as you heard at the last meeting, and Ron, I think you may have been the only one who missed that conversation, but there are residents in the development who are frustrated at this point with the status of work and concerned about extensions being granted without some assurance that this project will be completed. So what staff had done was we reviewed the entire application, went out and inspected the property, met with the developer to go through this punch list of items that needed to be done, and now try to encourage them to finish this. Statutorily, the commission needs to grant an extension for another year because the statutes did change last July, where projects, and I did in my memo that is noted. So Public Act 21-163 did indicate that if a project that had been approved prior to July 1st, 2011, where they used to be valid for 9 years with an additional up to an additional 5 years, the commission may grant for a total of no more than 14 years for the project. And then during COVID, so the first time, or last year when the applicant came before you, you were still under that discretionary additional 5 years to get them. They were between the 9 and the 14-year point. So the commission had discretion at that point. Then July 1st happened and the statutes changed, where now the project shall expire not less than 14 years after the date of approval, and the commission may grant an additional 5 years for no more than a total of 19 years from the date the site plan was originally approved. So that we're now bumped into the mandatory portion of time that the project shall be valid. So that would bring the authorization for this site plan approval until June 18th, 2023. And then after that, the commission may grant additional extensions of time up to June 18th, 2028. So our goal clearly is to have this project finished. And as it is an affordable housing development, we have a vested interest in getting this project completed as well. The town does not hold any financial sureties or bond on any of the outstanding improvements. So we're at a point where we need to come up with a mechanism to get this work completed. One opportunity that the commission has is that prior to any final certificates of zoning compliance, if site improvements are not completed, the applicant may grant or may volunteer a financial guarantee for the outstanding site improvements that need to be made in order to get a final CO on one building or 2 units. So as we have 2 units left, one is under contract and they're looking to close, I believe, in July. So it would be my recommendation, and this is the conversation that I had with Bob Murphy and Phil Altieri last week, was that they should get as much of the improvements as they can get done ahead of that closing. I don't think it's our goal to take a large bond where that money can then instead be put into completing the project. So hearing that a lot of the drainage improvements have been done or are underway is a good sign. And perhaps maybe the only outstanding site improvements would be the final bituminous layer on the shared driveways, and possibly some landscaping if it hadn't yet been done. So that may lower their bond, but that will also give us some assurance as they move forward that should something happen to this project, that at least the town has the ability to call a bond and get this work completed. There are, I think, 12 units completed at this point and residents living in the community. While they did buy during an active construction site, there is some sense that we should be able to manage this and the time period in which this is taking, since we are almost on year 14 here for this project. So that was the rough conversation we had. We still have a couple questions that I know is outside the realm of engineering, and that was the affordable housing component to the project. In my memo on item number 8, we do have 4 out of the 6 affordable units completed. There are 3 at 60% average median income, which are units 2, 4, and 6. And there's 1 unit done at the 80% mark now, which is unit 9. The affordability plan identifies an administrator of the plan as NeighborWorks New Haven or a successor company, and that administrator is responsible for providing annual reports to the commission. And that's important for us in managing our affordable housing developments, so that we know, in fact, they're following the affordability plan, and doing that income verification and making sure that these units are not being sold above what they're supposed to be, their rates. So the developer has indicated that they have an administrator who is not NeighborWorks. So they are responsible for providing some information to the commission and some annual reports. One of the complaints we had received in the land use office was regarding HOA fees and the costs that were being assessed to the affordable units. The homeowner's document identifies the method of assessing these units, and I believe it stated no more than $50 in the first year. However, then it's a percentage moving forward. So this question should be addressed to the administrator to verify that, in fact, they are following the affordability plan and the homeowners association documents. Right now, the association has not been passed over to the residents yet. It is still being held majority by the developer. So there should be some checks and balances, and we should be getting these reports. Once the homeowners association does take over managing the property, it will be the homeowners association who's responsible for having the administrator provide you with those records that we keep and maintain in the land use office. So those are some important points that we have, and just getting the project completed, essentially. So while it's my recommendation to grant an extension for the year in accordance with the statutes, it would also be my recommendation to require that site improvements be completed prior to the next issuance of a final certificate of zoning compliance. And if they're not, then the developer should post a bond for any outstanding improvements. But I think that the commission, you may want to speak with the developer yourself. So if rather than making a motion tonight, you'd like to table this and have a conversation with them at your next meeting, that's completely reasonable as well.
Yeah, a couple of things, Aaron. Chuck Mandel here. I did notice that Diane Murphy is an attendee. So can you invite them, or can you speak, even
Is
do a
Diane
chat? Diane Murphy?
Bob?
Yeah, I believe so. And while you're trying to get him online, and I agree with Aaron. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't know that. I wasn't just going to pass through any Murphy. I wasn't sure.
Oh, yeah, I believe that's.
You did too, M. Williams.
Well, I know that was kind of obvious.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. We'll try.
If you
Perhaps
can,
Diane's a resident or not interested. We'll see if Diane.
we'll see.
They have to accept being promoted to a panelist. So we'll see.
Gotcha. So I do agree with you, Aaron, if he's not available to continue this to the next meeting. And in that time, what we can do is I will try to get the improvements drafted on a plan so the commission can see what work actually has been done. Was that in 2 weeks, the next meeting?
Yes,
Aaron?
on the 16th.
Okay, I'll try to get those expedited. It may be in worksheet form, but at least it'll show what has been done in regards to utilities and especially drainage, because that is the main issue right there.
Right.
So
Diane has declined, so I don't think that's.
okay. Sorry.
Sorry, Diane.
Okay, no,
Thank you.
my mistake. Very coincidental. Sorry, but I will get those on a plan. And there's no harm in waiting another 2 weeks and talking to the developer, and I'll get him up to speed on how to Zoom at that point.
Right. Or I'm happy to have him join in the office. Today was an odd day. That town hall closed early. So.
Oh, that's right. It was half day
Try
today.
to do it
Okay, gotcha.
early.
All right. I'll do that then.
Were there any questions that the commission had at this point? I know a lot of you had an opportunity, or Ron, if you didn't have any, you didn't have an opportunity to speak at the last meeting, so.
Right, I read the minutes though and was caught up, I think, to some extent, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Then can we have a motion to table this until the June 16th, 2022 meeting?
I so move.
Thank you, Ron. A second? Thanks, Elliot.
Second.
And any further discussion? Then let's vote. All in favor of tabling? Okay, so another item for our agenda, June 16th. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Next,
Aaron, we did the next plan also, so I might as well stay on as a panel if you want.
Yes.
Or they withdrew?
No. So, and I don't know, Carol, if you wanted to just quickly introduce that one, I was going to let you know that the applicants were not prepared or unable to come this evening, so they're requesting to table also.
right. So this is for 22-15, 181, 187 Wildcat Road and 193 Horse Pond Road.
Okay.
So again, we'll table that till our next meeting? Can we, I guess we need another motion to table that
Sure.
one.
I move.
Thank you, Ron. And a second. Thank you, Elliot. On any further discussion? And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. So another item for June 16th.
Okay, good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chuck.
See you. Bye.
Okay, next on our agenda for tonight, 22-09 DVD 761 Boston Post Road. And this is the Madison Arts Cinema project, which I think also is going to be continued to June 16th. Is that right, Erin?
Yes, they had originally met with ACCA, and ACCA had requested some additional information. So they've tabled, opened and continued for a month to allow them another opportunity to meet with ACCA prior to meeting with the commission, so that you could get a full review from the committee first.
Okay.
So they should be ready for June 16th also.
Then I think we can move on to the approval of the minutes. Elliot?
I have the, yeah, I'm muted, right? All right, I have the meeting minutes from May 19th, 2022. Members present were Snow, Hitchcock, Mathers, McDowell, Hay, and Ruse. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
From Carol, need a second. Giselle, any changes or comments?
Yeah, I had a question. There was a sort of dangling
Participle.
participle, as not an incomplete sentence, maybe is a better way to say it grammatically, which was, and Erin, maybe you can take a look at this. This was under 251 Boston Post Road. Commissioner Mathers asked about a special exception. Mrs. Mannix states the application. I think it needs to be completed with something like applies just to this property. It's about halfway down in that summary. Are you seeing it, Erin?
Okay, what page are you? You're on page
It's the
2?
second page under 251 Boston Post Road, about halfway or a little over halfway. Commissioner Mathers asked if a special exception is granted. Does it apply to this application or does it apply to the property?
Oh, I'm sorry, I see that.
And it says Mrs. Mannix states the application, but it doesn't, I don't think it
Yep, that would be just to that particular property.
applies just to that property. So we
Yes.
just need to add a clarification, I think.
Sure.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Any other changes or comments? Seeing none, take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstained? Ron? They're approved.
Thank you, Elliot. Okay, I have no remarks for tonight's meeting. Erin, did you want to say anything further?
I don't think so. I feel like I shared at our last meeting, although I may have gotten this out afterwards. We did release our advertisement accepting RFQs or RFQ accepting qualifications, excuse me, from planning consultants to get started on our plan of conservation and development. So that will be open until June 17th. And then we'll be hopefully opening those up and finding someone qualified so that we can begin hopefully in July, getting them on board.
Great.
I propose we take a collection so we can get our chairman a traveling computer so she can plug in on June 16 on a Thursday. The wedding can't possibly be that night.
No, there's a dinner that night. I did actually
Darn.
casually offer, but Aaron shut it down immediately since this is an important
Oh, okay.
occasion for me and as well as for Giselle. So, but 3 is a quorum. And looks like it'll be a busy night.
It is, but it is also, yeah, we're getting down to some challenging times, especially if you know ahead of time if you'll be traveling or out of town for a meeting. We may, based on, depending on our application load, try to cluster some of these into one meeting rather than 2, just to make sure that we have everybody there and make it a little bit easier. I have not heard of any additional members being nominated at this point to the board, so we'll see.
We certainly wouldn't have them by the next meeting.
No. So I appreciate all of you and your ability to be here, and we clearly are going to be relying on each other to carry it a weight for a while here. But I'll do what I can for you to help make your job simplify that as much as I can, or help you out. So just let me know if you have specific questions. And again, yeah, I mean, some of these are continued over. At this point, we don't have any other new receipts at this time. Although you never know.
Yeah. And July looks to be reasonable or light even. I don't want to jinx it, but.
Right. So if we don't have anything happening, then I will, I will let you know, and we can consolidate our meetings a bit. I think that was one of your suggestions, Elliot, also.
Yeah.
To try and not to stall business, or acting if it's something easy enough. But again, yeah, in the interest of getting everybody there. So I'll let you know.
Okay, thanks, Erin. And thanks for all your support for us too. I think we need a motion to adjourn then. Well,
Yes.
I so move.
thank you, Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Second,
I'll second.
Elliot, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
And so we are adjourned.
So
you all.
Carol, you could give us your phone number. We could be texting you during the meeting.
We could just come to the dinner.
Yeah, that would be, yeah.
We'll sit at our own table.
Don't worry about us. We'll be fine here in that.
Well, I look forward to hearing about it, and
Yeah.
thank you all for making it
Yes,
work.
And I
congratulations.
think Giselle's traveling too. You travel well too, Giselle.
Yes. Giselle, enjoy the day.
Yes. Well, yeah, the wedding is actually Saturday. But with the amount of people in town and the rehearsal dinner, it's definitely tough. I'm better off saying I can't make the meeting.
No, do not make the meeting. It's not a high priority. compared to that.
Enjoy.
Yes, enjoy. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
At least once June goes by, there'll be no more weddings, I suspect.
Yeah, it is the season and it's catch up from
Yeah.
COVID.